Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. As always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. Coming back in with our third little play with the Golden Oldies Festive Fun. This is the super cute mistletoe kisses. So we've got our little couples here. So we've got them like sharing a kiss under the mistletoe, sort of huddled up on the bench with the hats on, sharing that massive jumper. Looks like they're having a right old laugh there. We've got loads of sentiments, cozy Christmas wishes, the best gift at Christmas is you, Merry Christmas. Got mistletoe, poinsettia buttons, and then winter wishes and mistletoe kisses. And just as if that wasn't enough, they've given us a beautiful border as well. The foiled cardstock has these beautiful stars foiled, and then you've got that sort of bigger image of those two having a little kiss. And then the printed one, we've got them in their jumper and their sort of holly there, and the poinsettia borders. So the inserts that I've chosen are the poinsettia and the presents, and I got the presents from where did I get the presents from? Oh, here, look. That's, I knew I'd seen something where they were in a row, so that's where I got the presents from to tie that insert in. Okay, so let's have a little bit of fun with these today. Okay, so I've got a piece of A4 white ink me cardstock, and what I'm going to do is cut this down to 10 by 7. So let's just make sure that's okay, that's fine. And then if I bring in my scoreboard, what I'm going to do is make a, what am I making? I'm making a gatefold card, a 5 by 7 gatefold card. So this one, this piece of 10 by 7, I'm going to score at 2.5 and 2.5. So I've got the smaller board, so I have to sort of rotate that round. And then what I'm going to do is just give these a nice varnish down, just trying to keep those nice and straight. Okay, and then we've got our gatefold there. Okay, brilliant. So let's bring in the trimmer. First of all, I need to cut a gold mirror mat for that inside. So, don't know, that is big glue. So the first one is going to be 2 notches under the 5 by 2 notches under the 7, because that's going on the inside. Now, if you are happy just to put an insert in without a gold mirror mat, you could skip that out. That's up to you. I like to sort of follow it through. So that's going to go on the inside. And then this one here, if I cut this to 2 notches under the 7, again, all these bits will go in my bit box. They're perfect for little steppers and things. And then we need 2 pieces that are going to be 2 notches or 1/8 under that 2.5. So that's going to give me that really fine white border on my card. Let's put that in there. So if I just pop that on there and show you, so you've just got that nice white border all the way around. Then the insert I'm going to cut in a second. Let's go with the cardstock first of all. And I think I am going to come in with this foiled piece. And so the total amount of side is going to be, let's cut it to 4 3/4. Now I know there's going to be a bit left over, and then we will go ahead and cut that to 6 3/4 because we know that's the length. Again, we've put that in the box in case we need it later on. And then we're going to cut this to 2 1/4. And the same again. So like I say, we are going to lose a little bit, but it's just the tiniest bit. And by cutting it down, it does make it that little bit easier to work with. And then because we've used the presents, I'll use the present insert. And what I'm going to do is, we'll see how this cuts on here. We might have to neaten it up with the guillotine. So we're going 4 3/4. So you can see how horrible that is, that we will neaten it up with the guillotine. And 6 3/4. And sometimes this trimmer won't even cut the paper, it just tears into it. It's just so sad. And I find that with the papers, even when the blade is really sharp, I just find that the guillotine is the best thing to cut the insert papers with. So all I'm going to do is just neaten that edge up. Just by cutting that down, you can see that immediately looks a lot better, and all you can see is bits of fluff there. So hardly taking anything at all off, which is the idea. Now the glues I'm going to be using today, same ones I always use. We've got the Cloud Tacky Glue, which is the water-based glue, the Cloud alcohol-based glue, which is the all-purpose. I'm going to be using the Dotty Tape pen. I'm probably also going to be using the purple glue stick as well. So I'm going to pop the Dotty Tape pen on the corner of the insert. I don't use tacky glue on it with the water content because this paper is quite absorbent. The alcohol glue is perfect for it because it won't soak in. I like to use the glue dots so that I can move on to the next part of my card. So that the all-purpose glue just gives me that ability to sort of centre it where I want it to be. And then I can give it a good press down. Those dots will tape that in place, stick that in place while the all-purpose glue goes, well, it kind of goes crunchy. It really does meld itself to the actual paper, makes it quite crispy. Not like crispy you can eat, but it gives it a texture. Okay, so let's pop that one in. So you can see that's looking quite pretty. If you wanted to, you could come in with a peel off. I mean, I've got their best wishes and happy birthday there, so I've not got any happy Christmas ones to hand. Or you could stamp in there. I would recommend stamping it before you put it in the card if you're going to do that, because if you go wrong, it's going to be a bit sad. Although you could always stamp another one and pop it on top as a matte layer. Or you could do that anyway, it's up to you. But let's go ahead and pop these on. So we're just bringing the card to life at the moment. Now this is going that way. So I'm using the tacky glue on the corners, although I am putting it just across the base there. And the tacky glue is just doing the same job as that Dotty Tape pen did for the base. The insert on the inside. That is cute. And we'll just keep working our way through. They've still not told us who the new present is going to be, which is quite mean. Keep teasing us with more videos. There's also, and I don't know whether it's true because I've only heard it through internet and not from Hunkydory themselves, there is rumours of an advent calendar. So I am praying that that is true. And if it is true, then we'll work through it in December, which would be perfect for me as someone who makes videos, because December tends to be sale month, doesn't it? You know, from the middle of October to well, January really is sales historically with Hunkydory and a lot of places. So it would be cool to have something to work through in December, but we'll see. Okay, so I think the one we need to do, because they've got the presents on here, we're going to do this lovely couple here, because they are standing in front of that beautiful tree in their massive jumper that somebody's knitted for them, or they've knitted for themselves just as a laugh. But we've got, so that's going to go across the centre there, and I think we're going to have to go with this one. It's kind of got a knitting stitch around it, sort of design, kind of reminiscent of at least. And then we can go with cozy Christmas wishes, or we could put that on that side and have that yellow poinsettia at the top. Might change my mind on that. I kind of like that down that bottom side, but I don't like that there. Okay, no faffing today. So let's pop that to the side. Let's grab some scissors. And I kind of want this gatefold to interlock. So the frame, I'm going to put the sticky pads for the frame on one side, hopefully. I have said I will do that in the past before and then ended up forgetting. And I'm having a really bad day for forgetting. It's like I sat down to do this video, and then I thought, oh, you know, I was out in the garden with Geronimo, the nightmare that is Geronimo. I thought, well, my hands look a little bit grubby, so I thought, well, I'll go and give those a little bit of a wash. Went in there and then found the cup of tea I'd made about 5 minutes ago. So yes, that's the kind of day it's been today. Just working our way, working that frame out, and just making sure that if any pips are poking out, just using the tip of my scissors just to move them on. Okay, so I'm thinking probably I'm going to do 1mm on the frame and then 2mm on the actual topper itself, the picture. Now realistically this should be quite easy to decide where to put the pads, because it should be, if I'm popping this down the middle, I should be able to put that on point to point, and it should be at the middle point. So I am going to aim for that. Let's go with these 1mm ones. I'm going to have to chop them a little bit. I don't think I'm going to need any more than that. We're just going to go from that halfway point. This is when it turns out to be on the wrong side, although there's no right and wrong, so we're all right. But if you have got one frame, you know, if you're copying this design with a different set, which, you know, is you can do this, all these designs I make, you can just crisscross with all of the different sets. You know, almost every set has this fantasy label design in it, so it's just a question of matching whatever cardstock you want to the back. But yes, some of the frames do have a right and a wrong way, so it's worth just paying attention to that. And then I'm going to use my purple glue stick. Let's move it up a little bit. And I love this purple glue stick on foam pads. It makes the foam pads really slidey. Obviously it doesn't work on acetate or anything. It's only going to work on paper or card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move that completely out of the way. And I'm going to go just a little bit more towards the top in terms of height. So we've got a smaller gap at the top than the bottom, because I want that sentiment to come down here. If we pop that on, that should be good. And then this one we want the 2mm on. So just check. Yeah, it should be fine. And then, so let me just make sure I'm putting those on the right side. Again, we're just staying on that halfway point. And I'm going to put a nice amount on there because this card is going to be opened and sort of shut. And I have got a little half one here, so let's just pop that there for a little bit of extra. And then we can just take these off if they want to play. Come on now. Are any of these going to come off? There we go, we've got one. We got two. Maybe got to give them a press down first of all. Yep. It does not want to come off. Well, it wants to rip the whole thing off. What's going on? Why is that doing that? Sorry about this, guys. This has never happened before. Okay, let's just take that whole one off. I'm just going to use my glue eraser to flatten that bit down. And then what I'm going to do is just get another two. We'll give them a good press down. That's not going to be the case for all of them, but those second ones came off okay, didn't they? Alright, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but hey ho. Again, we're going with these foam pads, the purple glue stick. And then we do need to pop this on because we need this to go in the middle in the right place. So again, we're aiming for that center line with the tips. And then just looking top and bottom to make sure we've got sort of an equal space. If you wanted to be sure, you could put your frame back in and then do it that way. But that's going to interlace really nicely on there. Real nice smooth action. Perfection. And then this one, let's try another one and two. Yeah, that one's behaving, that one's behaving. I will pop a little bit of purple on just in case I get it on the wonk. And then we've got our cozy Christmas wishes coming in at the bottom. Okay. And then just to finish, I think we'll go gold. Could go green, green and red down there, but I have to be honest, I don't have a lot of red and green left, so let's go with that one. Oops, that one, and that one. Come on, come on. We just want two on that side. There we go. Right, so let's just pop a little dab of glue. And you could, I mean, this really is perfect to go on the diagonal like I do sometimes, because of the way of this card is. But I am just going to go, I just feel like in the corner is going to work for me on this card. Come on, stay still. And then we'll go turn that one over, and I just use my wax tip pick up tool. This one came from AliExpress, I think. It might have been Temu, but they do have them on both places. So, but also there are quite a lot of craft stores that do sell them now. I don't think Hunkydory does. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing one, otherwise I would have got one. But that is going to be our card number 1, our little interlocking gatefold. And I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so the second one, I thought I'd do like a reverse easel. So, and I'm going to do this on a 6x6. So I've just got a little off-cut piece. I think that will fit what I want it to do. And then I've got a piece of 6x12 300 GSM white cardstock. And what I'm going to do is score it at 3 and at 6. And if I bring that in this way around, just because the cardstock is a little whiter, actually. No, we'll bring it this way around because we want that whiter to be on the inside. So what I'm going to do is just burnish that down and then burnish that back. So at the moment it's looking like a fold back card. Okay, so because it's a reverse easel, what we will have is a piece on here which will then will prop up at the bottom. If it was a normal easel, I know in one of the last couple of videos, that would be that way around, and you can sometimes have a piece on top if you prefer. But because we're doing that reverse, we're having it that way round. Now, if I bring in my trimmer, now I'm pretty sure the topper is around about 5.5 or something by 4. So if I go point to point here, it's 4 by 5.5. So let's bring this piece in. What is it? What have we got? We've got 4.25. I'm going to leave it at 4.25, and then we'll do 5.75. So it's pretty much going to be, when this goes on, it will be pretty much the length of the card on there. Okay, but obviously you don't want to go over that 6 inches. Because you want to stay within the real estate of the card itself, but I think that's going to work. Okay, so because it's an easel card, we need to decorate the bottom. So I'm just going to take a 6x6 mirror mat and take 2 notches or 1/8 off 2 of the sides. You've seen me do this before. And down. And that's going to go onto there. I'm going to take another mirror mat, which I just buried a little bit, and I'm going to take this to 2 notches under the 3 by 2 notches under the 6. And I think I will decorate under here today. I don't always. I might bring in a little bit of papers from the book. But we'll take that to 2 notches under the 3 again by 2 notches under the 6. And then hopefully I've got a nice chunky piece of gold. I have, oh, it looks like a 6x6 mirror mat. Let's see, is there any others? That's a bit small. That's silver. Right, we'll go with this one then. So we were at 4.25, so I'm going to take it to 4 and 2 notches by 2 notches under that 5.75. So this is going to be for this piece here. That will go back into my bit box. And then I'm going to bring in this piece here. Now, I think the first thing I'm going to do is just cut it to... No, I'm not. I will take it this way to 5.75. Because I know I'm probably going to make a square card with this piece anyway. So let's put that to the side for a second. Now this is going to be the right size for my top lengthwise, and I want 2 3/4, which is going to be this top piece up here. We want a piece that's going to be 4, so I am going to be coming over this piece a bit, so yeah, that needs to be 4 inches, so that won't be a 5 by 5, might be a 5 by 5, something like that. So 4 by 5.5, which is going to be our piece on here. And this piece is always too small, I think. Yes, it is. That I will cut on the insert. I will cut on the actual guillotine. And then if I grab the book, we'll just grab something just for that back panel. We'll go with a poinsettia. And then we just need to cut that to 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. So that will go back into the book. 5 3/4. That will be our piece. And then if I just quickly grab my guillotine, remembering the problem we had with the paper on my trimmer before, this is a nice easy one. It's 5 3/4 square. Again, I'm going to keep that poinsettia border on there. That's going to be that piece. Got more than enough for another card. Just drop that on the floor. Okay, let's do some assembling. When we can, then we can start to get our pieces on. Okay, so back with the same glues again. Just that straight up a little bit of tacky. And just put that on. And then this one again, just using those glue dots instead, like I did before, and that all-purpose glue. The only thing I would say about using the all-purpose glue or an alcohol-based glue on for inserts is do make sure you give it a good press down, because if you get like a little lump of glue underneath and it's, you know, it's not flattened down, what it will do is it dries quite hard, so it can make it a little bit crunchy to write on. But as long as you just give it a good press down, make sure that glue is well spread out, it will be fine. Okay, so now we're moving on to that cardstock. I need to refill that tacky glue. It's getting a bit hard to get out. And just pop that on. And honestly, a lot of this is going to be hidden, so if you wanted to use plain cardstock with it, you could do. You know, it's up to you on whether you want to use the cardstock that comes with it, or maybe just pop a nice red in with a bit of an embossing. Yeah, you could do that as well, because this is going to come over quite a lot of it, but you will still see it through. Okay, so this is paper again, so we will just use our little tape pen. And it's quite enthusiastic at the moment, that tape pen, because I just refilled it, so it's it feels quite loose. It gets a little bit tighter as you go through it, but it's still very easy to use. I have to say, out of all the tape pens I have ever used, it's the only one I've ever stuck with. So I'm not generally a fan of tape pens, mainly because they tend to be quite permanent. You know, like especially with paper, if you pop it down and it's wrong, you've kind of had it. Again, you could be embossing this for a bit of extra gorgeousness. But yeah, the tape pens, they tend to be sort of permanent from the minute you put down. Like the straight one is definitely very permanent. And if it's paper, sometimes it can be quite hard to get that paper off. But I have to say, touch wood, with that one, you do get a little bit of a window to move cardstock and paper around. So that is why it has stayed on my desk, and that is why I still use it. It's a really good one. Okay. So then we've got our piece here. Now we can decide whether we want that to go on the side, whether we want that to go in the middle. Let's bring our topper in and see. So we're going to have our cute little mistletoe kissers. And oops, pop that one out. I think sentiment will go winter wishes and mistletoe kisses, because that does make sense. Although we could go for, actually we can do, we'll use this big one here, the best gift at Christmas is you. We'll use that as our stopper. So we're going to have 2 sentiments on this one. So let's see, obviously we're going to be taking some of those frames out. Do I want that to the side? Might leave this one off. Okay, we're going to leave that one off. Probably come in with some of those buttons. Do I want... I think I am going to go to the side, and then I'm going to have some of those. I've got the little mistletoe button in the blue, and I've got that poinsettia in the red. I think they will stand out quite nicely there instead of that sentiment. Okay, so let's grab a little bit of red liner tape, strongest tape in the Crafty Biz. And just going to cut that in 2. We haven't got a right or a wrong way. I'm just going to pop that on there. I've only put 2 bits on because I will use tacky glue as well. And again, you only want to come down a little bit because we're only 3 inches on there. We can always pop a little bit of tacky glue underneath if we are unhappy with the stick. And then what I'm going to do is just make sure I'm not coming over that bottom, make sure I'm straight. I think there is good. Okay, so I've just come just under there, just under the top. And I think that is going to be quite a nice place to be. So let's go with our frames. Again, I'm going to miss that middle one out. I know I do it so often. I mean, you could always pop it in the middle and go that way round if you wanted to. You know, there are so many different ways to use these frames. If you wanted to go smaller with this card, you could just use the topper. You know, you could go like that and have that in the middle. But today I'm going to go like so. We'll use it as it is intended. Now I am going to try these 2mm again, so let's keep our fingers crossed. I think I will chop them in half. Oops, nearly got my finger then. Okay, that could have been an interesting end to the video. Okay. There. So Geronimo's doing all right. He's actually still a huge pain. He still bites a lot. I found today that blowing on him quite hard puts him off biting. Like it makes him stop and think, what's happened there? So that is the tactic I'm going to use going forward. We've tried putting him down We've tried sort of pushing him back away, but he just comes at you faster, to be fair. So I mean, he's still young, so his training's doing well. He sits really well, and he sits immediately when you tell him to, which can be quite handy when he's biting you, because sometimes that will distract him. Toilet training are not so great. He will go on a mat, but he won't go outside, and he doesn't like going for a walk outside. It's too scary for him. Any like strange noises, dogs, he just wants to come home. And it's not like he's going for long walks anyway. He's only just out the door really. But he's the same in the garden, to be fair. If he's out in the garden and he hears next door but one's boxer dog who barks quite loud, he'll come in. And same with we call her Princess. I don't think that's her name. The Polish family. On the end they have a little Yorkie, and like I say, we call her Princess because she's got a little bow in her hair. But she always used to have a little. She gets aggro if people walk past her gate and she's in the garden, because she's protecting her territory. That's what they do. And smaller dogs are louder than bigger dogs, I think, sometimes. They have to compensate. So yeah, he doesn't like Princess bark. He doesn't like the boxer dog. I don't know what the boxer dog's called. I haven't actually ever seen it. I just know that Dean has told me about him. He doesn't, I've never seen him go out for a walk. I think they take him out in the car because he's full of energy. You know what boxers are like. Okay, so again with this stopper. Oh, there goes Hens. What's up, Hen? I've got the kitchen windows open, so if people are coming and going, he will bark. Okay, so we're just going to put some 2mm ones on this stopper as well. I'm going to use that purple glue stick again, just to make sure I get it in the right place. It does dry clear. Just got some pips and awkward pieces on that one. Now what we're going to do then is just pop that up, and then good job we've got these on there. Where we want that to be, I think we want that to be in the centre of, using the point as a sort of centre point, so that's going to sit really nicely on there. We don't need the yellow one, we're just using these two. So again, we'll go with these 2mm ones, and one, and these are annoying. Okay, so let's just pop that off. Pop that off. And then I'm not going to worry about any purple glue on this one, because apart from this one, there wasn't a right or a wrong way with that one. But I think we'll go a little higher on that one. And then I think some gems. We'll go gold. I know I always do gold, but it always goes so well with everything. And I think what I want is just going to be, and I'll have to keep it up. Maybe, yeah, we'll just go with that one and that one in this corner. So we'll put two over here. If actually we'll go with the smaller one. There we go. Alright, so, and what I mean is, just while this tacky glue dries on these gems, I will have to just keep it blowing bubbles. You could use, because this is paper, this would be perfect to use your Nuvo drops on. Again, you would have to keep the card upright like this in its open position until those dry, and it would be super sad if that fell down mid-dry because it would squash them. Okay, so that is going to be our card number 2. Quite a long video today, so apologies. So that would sit on a shelf like so. It would have to go on a shelf or a mantelpiece, that sort of thing, because it does have to sort of sit flat for the effect. I guess you could hang it over a, you know, if you've got the line where you put your cards on, you could hang it over like that. It would get quite a nice effect. So that's card number 2. And if I just bring back in card number 1, which was that lovely little gatefold, that interlocking gatefold, which is interlocking so beautifully. I think that's the nicest interlocking one I've done, interlocking smoothly like that. Happy with that I am. Okay, you could also, I mean, if you wanted to, you could pop a little bow on here. You could the same with here as well. If you've got any little dies with a bunch of mistletoe, that would look super cute up there. You know, loads of ways to take that even further if you've got those supplies there. If you haven't, Hunkydory give you enough that the card you make is going to be beautiful. Okay, so it's just, you know, how extra you want to be, how much you really like the person you're sending it to, and how much work you want to pop into it. But that's it for today. Just one more set with this one, and then we'll move on to something else. But until then, enjoy the rest of the summer sizzlers, and I'll see you next time. But until then, happy crafting. Bye.